Babylon was a remarkable ancient city-state in Mesopotamia, situated near present-day Baghdad, Iraq. This city, emerging along the banks of the Euphrates River, became a beacon of human advancement and ingenuity. Renowned as one of the most influential cities in ancient history, Babylon is celebrated for its extraordinary architectural, cultural, and scientific achievements. From the legendary Hanging Gardens, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, to the creation of the Code of Hammurabi, Babylon's contributions to law, literature, and astronomy have shaped the course of human development. Origins. The area that would become Babylon was initially settled around 2300 BCE by the Akkadians and Sumerians. These early inhabitants established a foundation of urban development and agriculture, taking advantage of the fertile land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. The region's strategic location facilitated trade and cultural exchange, setting the stage for the rise of a powerful city-state. Babylon itself was founded as a small city-state in the late 3rd millennium BCE. Initially, it was one of many competing city-states in Mesopotamia. Despite its modest beginnings, the city's advantageous position and the ingenuity of its people allowed it to steadily grow and develop a unique cultural identity. Babylon's growth in prominence truly began under the rule of the Amorites in the early 2nd millennium BCE. King Hammurabi, the 6th ruler of the Amorite dynasty, expanded Babylon's influence through military conquests and diplomatic alliances. His establishment of a codified set of laws, known as the Code of Hammurabi, not only unified his expanding empire, but also positioned Babylon as a center of legal and administrative innovation. Under his leadership, Babylon transitioned from a small city-state to the dominant power in Mesopotamia, ushering in an era of prosperity and cultural flourishing. The rise of Babylon. Hammurabi's reign, 1792 to 1750 BCE. The era of Hammurabi marked a pivotal point in the history of Babylon, elevating it from a modest city-state to a formidable empire. Hammurabi embarked on a series of military campaigns that vastly expanded Babylon's territories, bringing neighboring city-states and regions under his control through both conquest and diplomacy. His strategic acumen not only increased Babylon's geographical footprint, but also its political influence in Mesopotamia. A hallmark of Hammurabi's rule was the establishment of the Code of Hammurabi, one of the earliest and most complete written legal codes known to history. This comprehensive collection of laws was inscribed on a stele and covered various aspects of daily life, including trade, property rights, family law, and civil and criminal offenses. The code was revolutionary in its attempt to create a uniform legal framework, emphasizing the principle of retributive justice, often summarized as an eye for an eye. It also sought to protect the weak and poor against injustices by the wealthy and powerful, reflecting a nuanced approach to governance. Under Hammurabi's centralized administration, Babylon's infrastructure flourished. He invested in extensive public works, including the construction of roads, temples, and irrigation canals, which facilitated agricultural productivity and trade. The bureaucracy was streamlined to ensure efficient tax collection and resource distribution, bolstering the state's economic stability and growth. This period of enhanced organization and resource management laid the groundwork for Babylon's prosperity and long-term dominance in the region. Hammurabi's reign left an indelible mark on Babylonian society and governance. His military conquests and legal innovations not only expanded the empire, but also instilled a sense of order and justice that influenced subsequent generations. The advancements in infrastructure and administration under his rule set a standard for future leaders, ensuring that Babylon remained a central power in the ancient world for centuries to come. Babylon as a cultural hub. During its height, Babylon became a melting pot of cultures and languages, with Akkadian emerging as the lingua franca of the region. This Semitic language, written in cuneiform script, facilitated communication and administration across the diverse peoples within the empire. As the language of diplomacy, literature, and commerce, Akkadian played a crucial role in unifying the empire and enabling the exchange of ideas and knowledge. Babylon's cultural prominence is perhaps best exemplified by its literary achievements. The city was a center of literary production, with scribes and scholars composing and preserving some of the most significant works of ancient Mesopotamian literature. Among these, the Epic of Gilgamesh stands out as a masterpiece of early human storytelling. This epic poem, which explores themes of heroism, friendship, and the quest for immortality, not only provides insights into Babylonian beliefs and values, but also influenced subsequent literary traditions across the ancient world. Religion was a central pillar of Babylonian culture, with the worship of a pantheon of gods playing a vital role in daily life and state affairs. Marduk, initially a lesser deity, rose to prominence and became the chief god of Babylon, symbolizing the city's supremacy. The Grand Temple of Esagila, dedicated to Marduk, and the towering ziggurat known as Etemenanki, often associated with the biblical Tower of Babel, served as both religious and architectural marvels, reflecting the city's devotion and its architectural ingenuity. The Kassite Dynasty, 1595 to 1155 BCE. The Kassite Dynasty marked a significant era in Babylonian history, bringing about a prolonged period of stability and prosperity. After the fall of the First Babylonian Dynasty, the Kassites, a people from the Zagros Mountains, took control of Babylon and ruled for nearly 4 centuries. Their reign is characterized by a notable degree of continuity and cultural preservation. The Kassite rulers focused on maintaining peace and stability within their territories. This period saw the consolidation of power and the strengthening of administrative structures, which facilitated economic growth and social cohesion. The Kassites' emphasis on stability allowed Babylon to recover from previous periods of turmoil and to flourish as a major center of culture and commerce. The Kassites were adept at assimilating into Babylonian culture, adopting local customs, language, and religious practices. They honored and preserved Babylonian traditions, ensuring the continuation of the cultural legacy established by their predecessors. This cultural integration fostered a sense of continuity and unity within the empire. Under Kassite rule, Babylon's trade networks expanded significantly. The Kassites engaged in extensive trade with neighboring regions, enhancing the city's wealth and facilitating cultural exchange. Babylon became a crucial hub in a vast network that connected the civilizations of Mesopotamia with those of the Mediterranean, India, and beyond. This increased trade not only brought material wealth, but also introduced new ideas and technologies, further enriching Babylonian culture. The Kassite dynasty's rule is often seen as a golden age for Babylon, characterized by economic prosperity, cultural flourishing, and relative political stability. Their ability to integrate into and sustain the rich cultural heritage of Babylon ensured that the city remained a vital and influential center in the ancient world. The Neo-Babylonian Empire. After centuries of decline following the fall of the Kassite dynasty and subsequent Assyrian dominance, Babylon experienced a resurgence under the leadership of Nabopolassar. In 626 BCE, Nabopolassar seized the opportunity to rebel against Assyrian rule, leading a coalition of forces that eventually brought down the Assyrian Empire. By 605 BCE, he had established the Neo-Babylonian Empire, restoring Babylon to a position of power and prestige in the ancient world. Nabopolassar's reign marked the beginning of a new era of prosperity and cultural revival for Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar II, 605 to 562 BCE. Nabopolassar's son, Nebuchadnezzar II, is perhaps the most renowned ruler of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. His reign is characterized by military conquests, architectural grandeur, and cultural achievements that left a lasting legacy. Nebuchadnezzar II was a formidable military leader who significantly expanded the empire's territory. His most famous military campaign was the capture of Jerusalem in 587 BCE, which led to the destruction of the Solomon's Temple and the exile of the Jewish population to Babylon, a period known as the Babylonian captivity. This act had profound historical and cultural repercussions, influencing the religious and cultural narratives of the Jewish people. Nebuchadnezzar II is also celebrated for his ambitious architectural projects, which aim to restore and enhance the glory of Babylon. Among these, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon are the most legendary, although their existence remains debated among historians. Described as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, these terraced gardens were said to have been constructed to please his homesick wife, Amytis. Another significant project was the Ishtar Gate, an imposing entrance adorned with glazed brick reliefs of dragons and bulls, dedicated to the goddess Ishtar. This gate exemplified the grandeur and artistic sophistication of Neo-Babylonian architecture and was part of a larger effort to beautify the city. Under Nebuchadnezzar II's patronage, Babylon experienced a cultural renaissance. The king supported the arts, sciences, and literature, fostering an environment where scholarship and creativity could thrive. Babylonian scholars made advancements in various fields, including astronomy, mathematics, and medicine. The preservation and continuation of Babylonian literary traditions also flourished, with scribes and scholars compiling and copying texts that would influence future generations. This cultural vibrancy helped solidify Babylon's reputation as a center of learning and civilization. Nebuchadnezzar II's reign brought about a period of unprecedented growth and cultural development in Babylon. His military successes, coupled with his dedication to monumental building projects and support for the arts, ensured that the Neo-Babylonian Empire would be remembered as one of the most significant and influential periods in ancient Mesopotamian history. Daily life in Babylon. Babylonian society was highly stratified, reflecting a rigid hierarchical system. At the top of this structure was the king, who was seen as the representative of the gods on earth and wielded absolute power over the state. Below the king were the priests and priestesses, who played crucial roles in maintaining religious practices and managing the vast temple estates. Merchants and craftsmen formed the middle class, engaged in trade and production that sustained the economy. At the bottom of the social hierarchy were the slaves, who performed labor-intensive tasks and served in households, often captured in wars or born into slavery. The economy of Babylon was diverse and dynamic, primarily based on agriculture, which included the cultivation of barley, wheat, dates, and other crops irrigated by the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. Trade was also a significant economic driver, facilitated by Babylon's strategic location at the crossroads of major trade routes. Merchants traded goods such as textiles, pottery, and precious metals with neighboring regions. Craftsmanship thrived, with artisans producing intricate jewelry, metalwork, and pottery, contributing to both domestic markets and export goods. Babylon was renowned for its advanced urban infrastructure, which showcased sophisticated planning and engineering. The city was laid out with a network of streets that facilitated movement and trade within the urban center. Canals were constructed to manage the irrigation of agricultural fields and to provide water to the city's inhabitants. Defensive walls encircled Babylon, offering protection against invasions and emphasizing the city's strategic and military importance. The urban landscape also featured grand public buildings, temples, and palaces, reflecting the city's wealth and architectural ingenuity. Babylon was a center of learning and scientific inquiry, particularly noted for its contributions to astronomy, mathematics, and medicine. Babylonian astronomers made significant advancements in the observation and recording of celestial events, which were crucial for both religious and agricultural purposes. They developed the sexagesimal number system, a mathematical framework that facilitated complex calculations and influenced future civilizations, including the Greeks. Education was often conducted in temple schools, where scribes were trained in cuneiform writing and scholarly disciplines, ensuring the preservation and transmission of knowledge across generations. Religion and mythology. Babylonian religion was polytheistic, with a rich pantheon of gods and goddesses. The chief deity was Marduk, who rose to prominence as the patron god of Babylon. Marduk was revered as the god of creation, water, vegetation, judgment, and magic. Other significant deities included Ishtar, the goddess of love, beauty, and war, Anu, the god of the sky and king of the gods, and Enlil, the god of wind, air, earth, and storms. These gods were central to Babylonian cosmology and everyday life, influencing everything from politics to agriculture. Temples were the focal points of Babylonian religious life, serving as both places of worship and administrative centers. Each major deity had a temple dedicated to them, where priests conducted rituals and offered sacrifices. Ziggurats, massive step towers that soared into the sky, were among the most iconic structures in Babylon. The most famous ziggurat, Etemenanki, was dedicated to Marduk and is often associated with the biblical Tower of Babel. These structures symbolized the connection between heaven and earth and were central to the religious and cultural identity of Babylon. Babylonian mythology is preserved in a variety of texts, the most notable being the Enuma Elish, the creation epic that tells the story of Marduk's rise to supremacy among the gods. This mythological narrative explained the origins of the world and established Marduk's divine right to rule. Other significant texts include the Epic of Gilgamesh, which, while not solely Babylonian, was a central work of Mesopotamian literature that explored themes of heroism, mortality, and the quest for eternal life. These texts were not only religious, but also literary treasures that influenced later cultures. The Fall of Babylon. In 539 BCE, the Neo-Babylonian Empire met its end when Babylon fell to the Persian king Cyrus the Great. The conquest was relatively peaceful, as Cyrus presented himself as a liberator and restorer of religious practices, gaining the favor of the Babylonian priesthood. This event marked a significant shift in the region's power dynamics, with the Persians absorbing Babylon into their vast empire. Despite the fall of its political power, Babylon continued to be an important cultural and administrative center under Persian rule. The city remained a hub of learning and commerce, and its cultural and scientific achievements were preserved and respected by the Persians. The integration of Babylon into the Persian Empire also facilitated cultural exchanges that enriched both civilizations. Over the subsequent centuries, Babylon experienced a gradual decline. As other regional powers, such as the Greeks and later the Parthians, rose to prominence, Babylon's political and economic significance waned. The shifting of political centers to places like Seleucia and Ctesiphon further diminished Babylon's importance. By the time of the Islamic conquests in the 7th century CE, Babylon had largely faded into obscurity, leaving behind a legacy that continued to influence history and culture long after its decline. Legacy of Babylon. Babylon's contributions to various fields had a profound and lasting impact on subsequent civilizations. Its legal innovations, epitomized by the Code of Hammurabi, laid the groundwork for the development of legal systems in the ancient world and influenced later codes of law. Babylonian literature, including works like the Epic of Gilgamesh, provided a rich cultural and mythological heritage that inspired later literary traditions. Scientific advancements, particularly in astronomy and mathematics, were significant. Babylonian scholars developed methods for tracking celestial movements and contributed to the foundations of algebra and geometry. Urban planning and architectural techniques from Babylon, such as the construction of ziggurats and sophisticated irrigation systems, influenced the development of cities in the ancient Near East and beyond. Babylon remains a site of immense archaeological importance. Extensive excavations have unearthed remarkable artifacts, structures, and texts that provide a window into ancient Mesopotamian life. Key discoveries include the Ishtar Gate, a stunning example of Babylonian artistry and architecture, and numerous clay tablets inscribed with cuneiform writing, which have revealed details about Babylonian economy, law, literature, and daily life. These findings have been instrumental in understanding the social, economic, and political dynamics of ancient Mesopotamia, as well as the broader historical context of the region. Babylon endures as a potent symbol in cultural and historical memory. It is prominently featured in biblical texts, where it often represents both grandeur and moral decline, serving as a cautionary tale of hubris and divine retribution. Historical records and literature from various cultures have perpetuated the legend of Babylon, portraying it as a city of immense wealth, learning, and power. This dual legacy of human achievement and moral lessons continues to captivate the imagination, making Babylon a timeless symbol of the complexities of civilization. The mythos of Babylon has been immortalized in art, literature, and popular culture, ensuring that its story remains relevant and influential throughout the ages.